Thank you, Professor Hemlata Talesra, ma'am. You are my guru in many, many ways, and it's very humbling to have the words which you spoke about me. And I'm so thankful to Dr. Glenn Martin, Wasif Masarsh Day, if I'm speaking the pronunciation right, Eugenia, and everybody, those who have joined from various corners of the world. Well, I think I would call myself just as Raji because that makes it easier and more inclusive. Because the name, when you speak, if it is longer name, it becomes difficult for every person on the global citizenship to pronounce my name that long. So I start here with the initiative of calling me as Raji. So that is the start of the inclusion in this particular session today. I'm so glad that because of the various exposures in research, organizational transformations, as a teacher, as a trainer, I have got a lot to learn from various parts of the globe. And that is how, I started looking at various dimensions. Well, from where did it start? This question comes very often. Like, why do we need diversity and inclusion at all? From where all these things have arisen? So let me tell you that the labor force in the 17th, 18th, and 19th century were fluid. They were going to seek employment, leaving their places to different other places. As you can see, many, many papers on the mobility of labors or mobility of the brain power from one space to the other space. However, the when you see the data that people in Dubai, like 40 to 60% workforce are non-Dubai people. They are coming from the Asian dimensions. Mostly many of the Indian laborers are there and Indian workers are there. Similarly, if you look at Singapore, around 28% are from different ethnocentricity. Malaysia, around 31% are from different ethnocentricity. US is the creation based on multiple generations of various countries, people coming together and creating a new country. So, there are a lot of historical things behind, the people moving to a different space, leaving their comfort zone. However, there are certain paradigms which we need to understand. So, what is ethnocentricity? Definitely, every space, every part of the geographical location has got its own ethnic values, ethnic conduct, character, and even language. What we wear, like I'm wearing a sari, I see Hemlata ma'am wearing a sari, Sarama ma'am wearing a sari. It's all ethnocentricity, identity symbols which we wear. Like I see Eugenia using a different set of headgear and coat, and the kind of, everybody would have their own identity based on where they live, what they eat, how do they talk, what is their language. So that is one aspect. In India, there is a very interesting dimension, the son of soil concept. We don't want to leave the spaces where we live. We are in the comfort zone. So many of the people, they don't want to leave the South India because the food in North India will not be that good or tasty. There would be people from eastern part of India. They don't want to go to any of the places where they cannot eat the fish and kind of thing. So, there are so many possessiveness about your own ethnocentricity. And son of soil concept. Similarly, what Dr. Martin was referring, the racism, the intolerance of any other ethnocentric person entering into your geographical spaces or your kind of workspaces and taking lead, leaving you behind. Oh my God, this is not accepted. How that, a brown or a black or a white taking more space than me. So that kind of, intolerances we have seen, other than that of lot of structural exclusiveness, which Martin was talking, the legality of, having people from diverse backgrounds, the cultural mix, because when you go to a different location, getting acquainted to various things, the demeanor, as I would say, suppose 20 years back, maybe in year 2000, when I went to USA, I would like to tell here, Eugenia, just remember this. It's a very interesting example. When I went in 2000 to USA, I used to say namaste, and people used to look at me, who is this? And I started shaking hands. They were very happy. So I adopted that thing, right? But when I came back to India and shaking hand with men, everybody is looking at me, how dare? Because the demeanor which you may have internationally, the same, like you can give a big hug and nobody would feel bad. But at that time in India, the conservative mindset was so much prevalent that forget about giving hug. Even shaking hand with a man would be considered as taboo. So, how, but we have gone into the new gen philosophies where we are open to the global culture. We have sort of become the global citizens, accepting all the good parts from various countries. Well, it is like a lot of literary work has been done by Jacobi, Conard, and our own Peter Drucker from management, who spoke about diversity and inclusion. Before I go for anything else, I would like to tell here one example. In India, there is a hotel chain called Lemon Tree. Lemon Tree is a very huge chain of hotels. Lemon Tree was one of the first hotel industry who hired a vice president sustainability. She is a very good friend of mine, Miss Aradhana Lal. Miss Lal was taken as vice president sustainability, and she thought that why do we have particular type of employees only, and why don't we take diverse backgrounds? So she started diversity and inclusion in Lemon Tree hotels, and you won't believe what she brought in as a value, which has become a global case study for everyone to emulate. She started people from disability backgrounds to be included into the hotel staff. So the people, those who had hearing difficulties, the people who had a speaking difficulty, people who were blind or had vision problems, people who were disabled due to any other physical difficulties, they all were slowly hired into various roles. And the best part, I must tell, that the people, those who came like as telephone operators or bellboys or serving the food and everything, or attending to the room cleaning, these people, before even they could join, the major drive was to train the entire existing normal staff, that how are they going to learn to work with them. The sign languages, if you are using any of the major hand movements to a deaf and a dumb person, so how are you going to deal with that? If you are to use somebody who has vision difficulties, how are you going to use various audios so that the person can understand you very well. It was pretty difficult for the normal employees to accept the diverse and physically difficult people to be at the job. But I tell you, this went like viral experiment, and the Lemon Tree Hotel became the role model employer for people with difficulties, physical difficulties. Even spastic peoples were hired for routine type of work. So it is such a beautiful example that we think that there are limitations, but these limitations are in our mind. Whereas everybody on this earth is considered to be useful. There is a Sanskrit hymn, Amantram Aksharam Nasti, Nasti Mulam Aushadam, Ayogyo Purusho Nasti, Yojakata Durlabha. That I will translate it for the sake of everyone, that there is no alphabet by which you cannot create a prayer or a hymn or a shloka. There is no tree or a plant in this, on the entire universe, which cannot be converted as a medicine. It would have a medicinal value in something or the other. And there is nothing called disabled person, because the most idiot person would have at least one or two such qualities which can be utilized for the humankind. Such a beautiful thought. Centuries ahead, the Indian Veda has proposed. So diversity and inclusion, as I would start looking at, the leveraging the power of demographic trends, talking why do we need it at all? So when diverse people come at one workplace, they bring different perspectives, different thought processes, different ideas, different way of doing things. They bring their own flavor, they bring their own mindset, and the other people start learning, accepting, or rejecting, or making things little more tolerable in the workspace. And you learn a lot, developing the attitude, and so many other things can be done by this. Now, what do we mean by the word called diversity and inclusion? I'd just like to tell that one is race ethnicity. Based on color of skin, brown, white, black, pale. There are, like, I'll just take some water. I'm sorry, I just recovered from Corona, so I have some difficulty in speaking continuously. So I'll just tell you this thing. My daughter was appointed in Louis Vuitton Moët Hennessy Group under the diversity role. So why? Because she was coming from a brown skin, so they had a reserved spot for an employee from a brown ethnicity to be taken in LVMH Hong Kong. Now look at that. Proclaiming that you have a specific role for a particular skinned person. I'll come back to it. The flop side of it also I'll talk. It is very important here to know that. There can be another thing, which is gender diversity. So having male, female, LGBTQ. Again, I'll give you an example. There are countries where the people from LGBTQ are not seen as different person. They are welcomed at the job without going into details of their gender. Amazon, being such a great employer, Amazon India is also there. So I'm just giving you one example. One of my friend's son He declared himself to be transgender once India adopted LGBTQ community as, inclusive. So he declared that he's a transgender. He started dressing up like a female. His parents, everybody had a lot of issues around it. But somewhere, the Amazon India told that we can't keep you on the employment. Now look, Amazon in USA is open to have all types of genders they welcome. The moment it was in India, there were some issues around it, and they had to say goodbye to this boy who is now a girl. Look at that. This is very important. Gender diversity. Are we still ready for the gender diversity in Indian organization or any other companies or any other corporates or any other countries where there may be restrictions about it? We have to think about it. Similarly, age. Again, in Asian perspective, the age to enter in a role or a job or a career varies from 18 to 25. But in certain countries like Australia, France, Italy, Vietnam, you can enter first time in an employment even at the age of 50. First time employment at the age of 50, 55 people can enter into the job and role. And in India, you would say, what? No, you just rest at home. We don't want, this age group of people to be at the job role. Whereas now the world is rising towards accepting to let go the age factor so far as your physical and mental energies can contribute. You're most welcome to join the bandwagon of the workers. Another thing is like education, training, experience. You bring a lot of diversities by doing that. People from different language background, different races, different beliefs, social and religious beliefs, they can come. And that is where, we need to be thinking about diverse background of employees. And so far as inclusion is concerned, I'll just like to tell here that in India in 2013, there was a law passed that in every board of governance in any of the corporate, there would be a reserved seat for women on the board. A major leap forward. However, there is a study by IIM Ahmedabad professor, Indian Institute of Management professor, which talks about tokenism in the board, because even if the board members were female, the voice of them was never heard during the board meetings. Or it was, if at all it was heard, the meager percentage was 2.3% only. We are talking about inclusive board. So women are hanging there just like a nameplate, or just because there is a law which enforces you to have a woman director on the board. And if at all a woman is there, and if she is like me, if I'm an aggressive leader, I'm on a couple of boards and I make sure that my voice is heard, then people just try to buy in before the board meeting. Please remain silent on X and Y. Don't talk on this. They would try to play role even before the meeting. So a lot has to change here. The law can change. We can blabber. We can talk a lot about being diverse, inclusive, very open. We hug people, we call people openly to join in. However, when it comes to ground realities, has the mindset really opened about this inclusion is where a huge question mark is coming. Now my 2 cents on 15 points which can make this work, which can change the attitude from here. So I'm going to speak on 15 measures which can be taken by the corporate sector particularly, and in general everybody, to make this world a better place to live by doing small corrections at certain things. Small steps which can be taken and can make this world a real, open, loving, caring, nurturing place for every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, color of skin, ethnicity, gender, age, maturity, experience, and blah, blah, everything. So the very first thing is, right from the beginning, in the scholastic system, all educational responsibility is to make everyone understand that human is supreme. The education system from class 1, from the nursery, kindergarten students, they should know and should accept that there are diverse people around you. Somebody may have brown skin, somebody may have a black skin, somebody may be white skin, but that should not separate them, because, you know, that is where they need to learn. So scholastic system itself should have inclusivity and acceptance and tolerance to various religion, ethnicity, or gender, or color of skin, or anything. So we can embed the education to change the mindset of such global citizens. That's the first small step each government can take. The second word which I would like to tell is, we all should start learning the language of inclusivity. Instead of everywhere calling he, she, wife, husband, we should replace those words with workers, co-workers, spouse, or if you are supposed to use him or her, then please use every connotation that would represent every type of person around you. Yeah, so it is very important that, and use the third tense, they, my workers, my employees. Don't say my female, my team members from the female ethnicity, or don't write like those words or languages. Even in your reports, you can use employees as general. Don't classify them on the basis of gender. Here I would like to tell, very interestingly, when I was applying for my professorship at Harvard for the visiting professor profile, clearly it was mentioned, don't paste your photo, don't write your age, don't write your ethnicity. And don't write your religion. So important. Till in India, I can give example in India, first thing they would write is your photo, your full name, your caste, your religion, your region, everything you will have to tell. So can we start a practice where we get away with these barriers in the mindset and can make the employment free of those biases around all these things? This is a very important point I would like to bring as a small change. The equal opportunity employers should be a breed to be made visible and applauded globally. It is very important. While you're working, and if you have people from different backgrounds, that different genders working together, continuously take feedback. How do they feel? I did mention that my daughter was appointed as a brown skin in LVMH. Yeah. However, because of her performance, she was raised to different roles. That is a very different story. However, labeling certain position as per gender, labeling certain position as per color of skin itself is against the principle of equity, fairness, and justice. The employers should get away with these kind of biases, and they should remove such things that this place is reserved for XYZ type of person. That would also again give a message that we are open to all types of human beings. There are certain job advertisement I have seen, women need not apply. I've seen that. So and so need not employ, or only male preferred. These are very, very racist approaches, which we should rise above from. Another thing is, at the workplace, make the workspaces accessible. Make the workplace safe. Now, what are those practices? Having washrooms for all types of gender separately. Very, very important. Making separate washroom for physically challenged people. You would see it at the airport. But at the workplaces, most of the time, it may be one washroom which may be used by everyone around. So can we have better workplace by having separate washrooms, separate spaces for people, those who worship? Maybe you can create a small corner there. People, those who want to work silently, there can be a zone specifically created for them. Quiet rooms, what we call. And don't forget that anybody who is going to the office spaces, though the office space term has changed for last 2 years due to pandemic, but more accessible workplaces we need. If I am having difficulty in walking, do I have handrails? Go to Blind People Association in Ahmedabad city in India. There you are given an experience of dark room, a life in the day of a blind person. The moment you enter, it is all dark. You can't see a single thing. Then a person gives you guided tour to see that what is around. So if there is a painting on the wall, you just touch, feel that what it is. Or touch, oh my God, what it is. Okay, it's a water bottle. Okay, what it is, identify. This is, you touch, you don't see, you touch. And okay, this may be a pen. So like that, they give you darkroom dining experiences as well. When you are blinded, how are you going to identify food? How are you going to eat? Everything they give you this experience, which is an out of the world experience. And my entire perception about a person with vision difficulties changed after this experience. And we started making the workplaces more accessible for physically challenged people. At least have ramp, have some handrails, have some sound alerts. So those small things at the workplace you can have. Similarly, you should have multi-language signages. If there is a name of the city, it can have 3, 4, 5 prominent languages so that every type of person can read and understand. There was a time during 1990s, I'm talking, visiting France. It was so difficult because everything was French. The moment you go and talk in English, they would say no English, no English. It was so difficult. And if I don't know French or German language or Spanish, then how am I going to even learn? If I go to Kerala, Madam Chandi is there. And if I'm coming from Rajasthan and everything is written in Malayalam, the local language, I don't know which bus to board because it is all written this to this city, this bus is going, but I don't know because I can't read it, right? Yeah. So there are certain such things which we need to take care. Similarly, make your holiday calendars inclusive. Give the freedom to people to take their leaves and holidays at their own spaces. This small change can also be a very welcome change. If the organizations provide you leave according to your Eid or Diwali or Christmas, it should be your choice, barring the national holidays. So, can we make a little more inclusion by doing the flexi calendars of holiday? Similarly, the body language, soft skill training, employee well being, work life balance, all these things can be taken care by the workspaces. Because of the paucity of time, I'm getting this kind of, you know, the I'm getting some cues that please sum up fast. So I'm trying to do that. And, also there is an interesting thing which Deloitte India has done. They have made digitally enabled D&I initiatives. So if the workers and employers start looking at their data set of the types of employees, they can develop certain AI enabled, technology enabled services which can help people to accept, adopt, learn, and openly, mingle into the diverse and inclusive work environment. Very small steps, but all workable, all practical. And changing the mindset is the hardest thing. But however, with love, compassion, care, and nurturing, ultimately at the end of the day, we are all human beings. And being human is the most difficult thing to practice. We are guided by so many biases. Removing those biases and moving ahead can only make this world as a better place to live. I end here. Thank you so much for listening to my ideas around it. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk and to be with you.